On today's video, we're back to JWM versus DSP in the opening of the level 8 pass. In the previous video, which is carded up on the top right, a failed attempt by JWM to drop a fortress cost us dearly as we got pushed back to the level 8 pass, and now we're not facing a single or a double, but triple Attila Takeda rallies on the pass. I had to emergency expertise my Artemisia, and the results are in this video. You'll get to see her in action, see some reports, and we'll talk a little bit about Attila Takeda as well as Artemisia and what is she so good. So sit back, drop a like on the video. Hey there YouTube, welcome back to Gekko Gaming. We're back as the level 8 pass is under attack, and in this video tons of rallies are about to go down. But before we start, I'm a sponsored content creator by Rise of Kingdoms. If you enjoy the content, want to see more daily Rise of Kingdoms content, make sure to subscribe down below, hit that bell for notifications. There are 2 videos coming up this week you don't want to miss out. One of them you unlocked with 300 likes on the previous video. If you haven't seen that yet, card up on the top right. And that is the Richard and Julius Caesar defense that got JWM2 all the way to the top 4 in Osiris League. Stay tuned, that video is coming up this week. You don't want to miss that out. Subscribe to the channel down below. And a bunch of you have asked me for the Artemisia talent tree, which you're going to be seeing in action on this video. Well, I will once more call upon you to drop the like on the video. And if this video hits 500 likes, I will make a full breakdown video of Artemisia with the talent tree, why she is that good, and why you should be expertising her before Ramses. That is right, I said that. You want to know more? Hit that like button, send this video out to your alliance mates, tell them to check it out, see why Artemisia is so good, and then drop a like on the video so you get the talent tree for her. With that being said, pass is getting rallied. Not by 1, not by 2, but by 3 Attila Takeda rallies. Sometimes 3 at a time, sometimes 2 at a time, sometimes 1 after 1 after 1, sometimes 1 and then 2, and then 1 and then 3, and then it's just crazy. It was a crazy break of a war, which I did not expect happening. I did not think that this was going to happen at all, and a bunch of you think that this is a complete charade, but with the amounts of troops lost in here and the fact that I expertised the commander for this, that would have been a very expensive charade for other people's opinions that nobody really cares for, truthfully. And so with that being said, this thing was as crazy as it could have gotten, and it just started out of nowhere. The pass was taken, DSW, DSE, and DSP were ready with 3 fortresses being able to constantly triple rally. And that's what they did. They straight up went for the rallies again and again and again. While that was going on, we dropped a fortress. JWM dropped the fortress way out there, which was a complete failure. It was a painful loss out there because it also split out our Artemisias. At the time, only Boss and I believe Moonwater, the name is in Chinese, I apologize. I translated your name, it said Moonwater. I hope and pray I got it right. Moonwater and Boss were the only 2 with an Artemisia expertise. Boss at the fortress and Moonwater in here. Now, when you hold rally after rally after rally after rally after rally all the time, what ends up happening is you run out of troops. And when you run out of troops, your commander gets kicked out. And when that happens, garrison goes out the window. And so one of the things you do want to do, and this is a point for you for your wars in the future, is you want to have 2 individuals who can garrison a structure in the structure and then swap them out. One of them goes to refill troops and comes back. When that happens, swap back, go refill and come back, so forth and so on. It is much harder than it seems, and in my opinion, those who are captains should actually not send 310,000 troops, but 210,000 so they can get into the building. Because that was my biggest issue. Sending 310 meant I would never get into the building because folks were just sending troops in to send troops in. 210 is easier. But again, it requires of you to swap more often. Because Boss was on one side and Moonwater was on the other, I hit up the folks in JW and was like, do I need to expertise her? Send me a talent tree if yes. And I got the talent tree. We went on to expertise her. And so the drops begin. Commanders just went crazy, right? So I was at 1-0-0-0, level 1 Artemisia. At the peak of lag, at the peak of madness. And I was just like, click, 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 go, 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 next, 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 level, level, level. Tomes of knowledge out the wazoo. And we went from 1-0-0-0 level 1 Artemisia to a level 60 5 expertise Artemisia. Took the talent tree, put the correct gear on her, and went to war. Now, there was two main differences between myself, Boss, and Boss, which you'll see in the reports and in the results. Boss does have a 10% health, archer health skin, which I do not. I used a 5%, so he had 5% over me on that. And he also has the better equipment on Artemisia. I believe he has Shio's returns, which I don't. And he has a couple of other pieces that are better than mine. And so his stats are a bit higher than mine, but my Artemisia did plenty of work. You'll see that in the video momentarily. Let's talk about Attila Takeda for a moment until we start looking at some rally reports. Attila Takeda are the most broken pair of commanders, and I will explain why a little bit later in the video. But the bottom line about them is that they do a stupendous amount of normal attack damage and an even more stupendous amount of counterattack damage. By them doing raw damage, they cost, in terms of severely wounded and slightly wounded, a lot more. This is what I've been saying for a while now about Rise of Kingdoms, where the game was super focused on commander skills and on skill damage and on skills and skills and skills and skills, and nobody really paid enough attention to the actual damage. Now, I was showing you that both myself and Boss were defending with tier 4s. That was the point to show you that it wasn't only tier 5s. He sent tier 4s, I sent tier 4s. That was how we defended, which is why you'll see in the reports that our death numbers are bigger, but their overall power loss is much higher because of that factor of tier 4s versus tier 5s. Counter rallies went in and all that stuff, but when Attila Takeda hit, their raw damage is just so crazy. And again, Rise of Kingdoms has to shift a little bit from the commander's skill damage to a little bit more damage of troops. Attila Takeda is truthfully the how would you say it? It's a reckoning of finally the troops making sense. The damage that the troops do is so important in Attila Takeda, and that's their number one. That's now ourselves with less than 1,500 troops holding the pass. Dear Lord, Boss had to go refresh, and so that's what it was left in there. He was hoping and praying, went to refreshed, and then came back. But anyway, there is no way to stop them. It's also why when you get countered by Attila Takeda, when you counter with Attila Takeda, when you swarm Attila Takeda, when you open field with Attila Takeda, if you swarm on Attila Takeda, it's super painful. If you hit with an open field Attila Takeda, you're going to do massive damage. It's just a different facet of Rise of Kingdoms that hasn't been explored yet, which is actual damage of troops. And Attila Takeda elevated that so much that there's no infantry pair that really compares to them. Yes, Constantine and Charles Martel are doing work, but quite frankly, they're first generation, second generation infantry commanders, and that's what does good against Attila Takeda. Like, where is Guan Yu and Leonidas? What are they doing, right? The bottom line is you cannot stop an Attila Takeda without an Artemisia. Artemisia was quite literally built for defending against Attila Takeda. The number one thing about Artemisia is that she is very strong at disarming. She disarms. That's what she does. That's all I'm going to go into in this video about Artemisia. Again, 500 likes on this video and you'll know everything you need to know about her. And so it's why Artemisia can also take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 rallies. It doesn't matter. Look at these reports. Like, here are the stats for Boss. You can see he's about 190 attack, 178 defense, 176 health. Really, really strong stats by him. Or 126. I didn't see how much his health was. 1.63 million power lost, even though our deaths are fairly the same. In here, once more, I was on the wall while the Attila Takeda started hitting. And it's just such a broken system because Rise of Kingdoms is now at a fork on the road, which is a very problematic fork. They can either go right, and in the right, what they would do is nerf Attila Takeda further, which would really, really harm everybody who expertised her and could potentially cause some issues when it comes to nerfing commanders that were purchased and all that. There's some some gray area in terms of legality of all that. But the left way to do this is to start releasing commanders that are just as strong. But if you release an infantry Attila Takeda, an archer's Attila Takeda, then what on earth do you do with the two other generations of commanders, which are completely useless now compared to these guys, right? Not necessarily completely useless, because there are ways to utilize early generation commanders against Attila Takeda to get yourself a little bit more bang for your buck. There are also ways to utilize these early generation commanders to essentially buff up Attila Takeda and do a lot of damage to Artemisia, as Artemisia is specifically geared to go crazy against Attila Takeda. But a good pair of commanders from the previous generations can actually do crazy amount of damage against her while Attila Takeda is going one-on-one with her. So think about that, and we'll talk about that in more details on the Artemisia video once you guys hit 500 likes. But anyway, what does Rise of Kingdoms do right now? It's one of the two, and they have to pick eventually. Attila Takeda has broken Rise of Kingdoms. It's the biggest, most used pair of commanders. I have no doubt in my mind that if we go look at the data, that's the pair of commanders that's done the most damage in the game in terms of kills, usability, hours used, hours on the field. No doubt in my mind that those are the go-to guys. Anyone who says that they're not broken, anyone who says they're not overpowered, anyone who doesn't think that Attila Takeda is good anymore after the nerf is completely out of their minds. Yes, there was a nerf a long time ago, and Constantine got a little bit of a buff to try to counter Attila Takeda. It's still nothing compared to to the things. I see so many Constantine and Charles Martels that do really, really bad. For you to do a good pair of Constantine and Charles Martel, you got to have the right talent tree, the right set of equipment, and you kind of have to hope and pray that the Attila Takeda behind you is not hitting you, is not that strong. But if someone like Zing, for example, rallies with his Attila Takeda with the best talent tree, the best possible gear, and all that stuff, I mean, that hurts. It hurts, and you'll see in reports in a little bit in this video of Zing rallying, as well as Mu and a bunch of others. So again, for us, it was crazy blitz on the pass. We got to hold on to the pass, and while we're holding on to the pass that's getting crazy amounts of swarms and madness, rallies went out to hit the fortresses, to hit the flags nearby, to hit anything under the sun. The goal was for us to get out of here and to push in. And it was just a huge uphill battle, because while we're taking Attila Takeda's left and right and having to refill, we also have to figure out how to fight back. And with 3 fortresses on the pass, it was impossible. Now, here's a thing. Back in the day, folks would drop 3 fortresses near the pass to lock the pass, to make it so that you got to burn that fortress. It takes longer. If it takes longer, it means you can't place flags and all that good stuff, right? That's an antiquated way of holding onto a pass, and look at all this lag. It was just crazy. But the antiquated way of holding the pass actually works stupidly better now that you have Attila Takeda. Why? Because so long as those fortresses are still there, you can always gather up triple Attila Takeda any time of the day. If you are at a point where you are in a disadvantage and the pass fights are tough, your Attila Takeda is not able to hold, they're pushing into you, call in a retreat, allowing the fortresses to burn for 2-3 hours, and then triple rallying Attila Takeda out of the blue again is such a viable thing, and it's such an easy way to catch people off guard. If you manage to let your fortress burn for like 4 hours and then triple rally Attila Takeda really quickly, catch the opposition off guard as they are trying to push forward, as they're trying to do other things, they're not paying attention. They might not be like fully there. They might have thought they already won, so half of the people went to sleep. And then Attila Takeda shows up on your door again. You take the pass away from you, extinguish the freaking fortresses, try to hold on to the fortress, to the pass for a little bit while the fortresses are extinguishing, and you keep rinse and repeating again and again. We had to march by a freaking rune. We were in the pass. We were coming in and out of the pass. It was mad. This kind of a hold once more shows the tenacity of an Attila Takeda. That pair... Anyway, we can keep talking about that forever and complaining about that forever. We need to see how Lilith reacts to all of this. One of the things that I noticed that were super, super rough was to get back into the structure. And especially when it lags, you play the lag game with the fortress. The lag game with the fortress goes as followed. When you go to reinforce a fortress or a pass in this matter, I'm saying fortress, but I meant to pass. To reinforce a pass, by the way, Moo going crazy, rallying flags all over the place. Zing going crazy, rallying flags and fortresses all over the place. You had a little bit of counterattack by us as well. But anyway, when you try to get into a pass, it says troops succeeded count. And then when you click on reinforce, you can only march into the building the exact amount of troops that can fit, and that's it. If your march is 310,000 troops and there's only space for 270, when you click tap to reinforce, the button on your march will be disabled, and it doesn't matter if the pass gains space or doesn't, it'll stay disabled forever. It's not reactive, so that when there's 310, you can just spam the button, and when there's 310, you'll get in. You have to close the thing, click on tap reinforce again, hit on your thing, and click march fast enough. And what ended up happening is that I see there's space, I click, I go. By the time I did that, there was a 5-second lag in which that space was already filled, but it took 5 seconds for the damn thing to fill up. So I go, click march, and then wait 5 seconds, and then troops exceeded capacity. That happened so many times. On stream, it was unbelievable. I literally sat there and just raged at the fact that there is 400,000 spaces open. I sent 310,000, not enough space. Why? Because in those 400,000, someone had already sent something in. It takes 2, 3, 5 seconds for the counter to update. And in the meantime, I click reinforce, I click send troops. It takes time to reinforce, to refill, and then poof, you've exceeded the timer. That was the most annoying, most rage-inducing thing in this whole game. If there's one thing I beg of you, Lilith, to fix, is that reinforce button of sending the march in will allow the march to go in when there's space. I don't know if it was a bug, if it's supposed to work like that or not. I was not able to make it into the damn pass until I managed to very quickly click, and somehow because of lag make it in. It's why I dropped from 300,000 to 310 to 210,000 troops in a building. Look at these reports by Zing. Zing just goes ham with his Attila Takeda. Does stupid amounts of damage all over the place, even when getting countered, when getting freaking swarmed, counter rallied, all that stuff. Zing's rallies were just absurd. 2.7 million against the 6.7 million losses. 1 million dead troops on that flag. Oh, with that Uzetian El Cid trying to hold as hard as possible, but with those kinds of stats by Zing, and look at the deaths, look at the folks trying to swarm. It was just crazy. Shout out to the men Zing with the crazy Attila Takeda march. Unreal. Moo did the same, by the way. Moo had his Attila Takeda going on, and he was having fun. 6 million against us, 4 against the 1.9. Troops dying left and right. He's doing crazy amount of damage, and that was the counter offensive, right? Like, they continually pushed on our pass, and we continually pushed not only on defending our pass, but also on their fortresses and flags. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to burn anything. It's really hard to burn stuff when, you know, there is a crazy amount of field presence at the pass and then a crazy amount of field presence at the flag, and we cannot take our field presence up forward because we got to stay back to defend the pass. And so it was a really, really, really rough scenario. It was a really rough scenario, but these guys right here managed to get themselves a little bit of fair, evenly, decently good trades. Evenly. What are you talking about? 2 million to the 4.3 doesn't seem even to me. But we definitely got some good exchanges, and that's what matters. Oof, this guy is not having a good time. Anything trying to hit Attila Takeda gets counter damage out the wazoo, and that's such a huge problem. Look at that. That's such a huge problem with Attila Takeda. Oof. Anyway, we're reaching the point where we are going to have to start showing you a bunch of reports. The next clip is a little bit more Attila Takeda rallies, and then we have all the reports that I collected by defending the pass. You guys have been waiting for this for a little while. and this is the result. This is what will make you understand how strong this combo is, how strong the talent tree that I will reveal to you hopefully soon is, with just stupid amounts of reports showing very successful defense. But the defense also included counter rallies onto rallies, rallies out onto the flags and onto the fortresses. It was just madness. I think that overall, this was the most intensive action we had all of KVK. I think that this KVK game mode is a bit problematic because most of the confrontations happen in very small areas on the map, and those very small areas are just lag festivals of pure madness, and it's just such a painful task to hold a proper war against any of this stuff. And the biggest problem with lag is just, you know, that the game is unplayable, the losses are real, the amount of, like, how long it took me to heal last video was just crazy. It was a pain in the butt, and I don't really know what I like or I don't like anymore about these modes. We had to bookmark a little bit of these reports, but we will do a wrap-up video of KVK once our KVK ends with my feedback, both positive and negative, to Lilith about this event. And hopefully you guys will enjoy that video as well as join me in the part of trying to give feedback to make this game a better game and all that good stuff. As one last Attila Takeda rally for us to watch, and then reports, and then show you guys a little bit of a thing that they did towards the very end of this fight, which was very, very beneficial for them. It made them actually take the pass. I'll show you how they did that, how they managed to take Artemisia out of the play, and we mentioned a little bit of it earlier in the video. Attila Takeda hitting right here, and I was just making sure, you know, am I captaining, am I not captaining, can I come in, can I get out, what is going on? And I kept checking it to ensure that essentially I don't leave by mistake. Here are some of these results. This was a very small one-tap rally thing. In here, you're seeing kind of the same thing, a little bit of a one-tap rally, showing you a little bit of the stats by Boss, as well as Aristo, what he had going on and all that good stuff. Boss's stats were really, really, really good. But double rallies were a thing. The longer rallies with a much more beneficial trade for us, 2.8 against the 1.9 million power loss. Some of the stats in there as well. 3.9 to the 6.4 million power lost in here. We got a little bit of a bigger troop deaths per se, but they lost a ton of tier 5s. We lost a little bit more tier 4s. Triple rally report right here to show you, and same kinds of results. 7.1 to the 4.5 million, 3.2 to the 4.9 by them, and then again 1.2 to the 2.2 by them. It just goes to show you that what we were defending with was just that much stronger. You know what to do. 500 likes on this video, and that talent tree will be given out to the world. An explanation on why this pairing, why Artemisia, how to set her up, and this is how you guys can actually get ahead against these Attila Takedas. However, you're going to need individuals to expertise that Artemisia, and it's going to be a little tough to explain to people why they need to do it. That video will give you a little bit of encouragement. Another triple rally right here, 1 to the 1.5, not bad at all. Again, showing you a little bit of the stats just so you're aware of what we're dealing with. 6.8 to the 9.8, massive losses right there. We did lose like 200,000 more troops. I'll take the 200,000 more dead tier 4s against the massive amounts of tier 5s dead on their side. 2.7 million to the 4.1. Do I need to convince you even further? I can show you one that I was garrisoning at a 4.5 against a 6.3 million loss by them. Those are my stats right there. Much lower than bosses, and yet still a very successful hit. Much better defense. And here, 3.3 to the 3.5. Things got a little bit rougher in there. As you can see, our troops counts was a bit lower at 1.7 million in there. There's one more rally right there with great trade results in here. I don't think we even looked at that. There's a 5 rally. This was a crazy one, 7.1 to the 8.7, and then their rally died off. This rally came in 2.9 to the 3.8. Then this one went off. One more came in, and they were double rallying for a little bit, 6.5 to the 6.4. This was the worst trade of them all. And then another rally came in, 3.5 to the 4.9. This is 4 now. And then another rally, 2.8. That's the 5th one. At any given time, there were 2 hitting. Sometimes there were 3 hitting. It was just madness. And then they made the best move of the day. They recognized that Artemisia is there to just counter Attila Takeda, and it's pointless to triple rally with Attila Takeda because she's just gonna do what she does, which is counter. And so what they did, as we were on the open field trying to figure out what the heck is going on, who's doing what, and why is where, they hit us with a Saladin Takeda, Attila Takeda, and an Archer March, which I believe was Ramsey's Artemisia, I think. And that really floored us. Why? Well, Artemisia is great against Attila Takeda, but she's not very strong against the Ramses. She's not very strong against a Saladin, and that shows in the reports. Saladin Takeda did get a little bit more damage. They definitely took a beating in here, and so did Attila Takeda, but then came in Gatto's Archer March, who really did the work for them, and it's how they ended up taking out the pass. Not that crazy of a difference though, but still, that was how they got the pass essentially. They triple rallied, not Attila Takeda. With that being said, I'm Gekko. I'm out of here. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. This was a long one, all about Attila Takeda, double, triple, quadruple against Artemisia. Remind you, 500 likes on this video, we reveal to you everything you need to know about Artemisia. And until the next time, I already said that. Until the next time, I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Thank you for all your continuous support lately. Thank you for being such an awesome community. I appreciate every single one of you helping me out, getting to my dream one day of actually being able to make content, not only full-time, but a lot more than what you're seeing. We're just getting started, so I appreciate all of you who are helping me through my journey in the beginning. And I'll see you guys sooner rather than later. Take care. Peace.